Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the title, today we are going to be talking all about staying positive in the new year and being able to face change in the best light possible, because I know that it can be pretty difficult, so stay tuned. And if you're new to this channel, I am Tatiana. I am a lifestyle blogger here, and I also have a stationery business as well called the Stationery Muse. If you're interested in anything kind of like paper goods, planning with me, all that kind of stuff, definitely check out my other channel here on YouTube. I'll have it linked somewhere around here for you to be able to go and subscribe to that channel as well. And thank you so much for tuning in this video. Like I said, today we're going to be talking all about how to stay positive in the new year, and I feel like it's important because we can plan all day, but if you are not ready for the fact that there may be changes that will kind of get thrown into your plans and just ways that can kind of spice things up a little bit, surprises basically, then it's going to be really difficult for you to be able to stay positive, because I know for myself I've dealt with this. And just to give you a little bit of a background on myself, for the last couple of years I've been using what I love to use. It's the Power Sheets. It's not sponsored or anything. This is just a product I've been using for the last couple of years, and it's an intentional goal setting guide that allows for you to just really figure out what it is that you want to get done for the year. So usually I have anywhere from like 7 to 10 goals that I work on throughout the year in all different types of categories: personal, work, business, my love life, family, friends, just different things. Every year it's a little bit different, and so I do that, and usually most of the time the goals that I do set out to achieve, they do happen, which is really cool to look back on. But then life happens, and sometimes those goals just do not. And so one perfect example is that we had just got married last year, and at the beginning of the year I did my whole Power Sheets and everything, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to find a new job where I can make more money so that I can contribute more. And we wanted to start paying off just like our small debts, like credit cards and stuff like that. And so in order to do that, just because the job that I had at the time, just the money did not allow for really much additional of anything, because it was just the income just was not there. And so I got a new job. I was excited and everything. It ended up being a job that I really did not like at all, but that's beside the point. I ended up getting let go about 3 months later though. So I'm sure you can see how going from the smaller income I had to a larger income to no income could really be a huge impact on me and my husband, and just that whole plan that I had for us. It didn't happen this year because there just wasn't any extra money. In fact, there was even less money, so it was tighter. I ended up having to collect unemployment for a while, and I ended up having to just try to do my business as much as I could and make as much money as I could through my business, which that was a whole nother journey in itself. And if you're interested in reading a little bit more about that, I actually created a blog post. It's called Growing Into My Truth, and I kind of reflect on the year of 2017. So if you are interested in reading that and getting a little bit of tea about how my year went, then definitely check that post out, and I'll have it linked down below. But yeah, today I just wanted to finish up. As you guys know, this was my 3-part goal setting series, and this part I really wanted to touch on because I feel like it's the most important part of all. You can set up all of your plans and everything, but life just has a funny way of doing what it wants to do. So this is all about being able to deal with that and being able to bounce back and realize that it's okay. So I'm going to give you guys 3 tips on how to make that happen and to stay positive and to just face change gracefully. Okay, so number 1 is to anticipate change. Change is just one of those things that no matter how foolproof your plan may be, it's just something that you cannot plan for, if that makes sense. But to anticipate it is a little bit different. So when I was in college, I actually used to say this thing all the time, which it was a lot more of a negative connotation for like guys and how they were just so immature and I just didn't have time to be dealing with their mess. And I would always say no expectations, no disappointments. And I think about it now as a way to kind of approach life to a certain sense. Now, not in a harsh way at all, because you do still want to set out to do things and you do want to do it positively, but go into things with no expectations. Go into something like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this extreme health challenge that I want to do, or I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this job search. But don't go in there with these high expectations that everything is going to go according to plan, because that's typically how you will set yourself up for disappointment. And it's not to say don't be hopeful, don't feel like great things are going to happen, but I think you'll be a lot happier, you know, when you aren't really expecting something and you're like, oh my gosh, versus you are expecting something and you're like, oh my gosh, you know. So y'all know what I'm talking about. But just anticipate change. And like I mentioned in my little story I told you, clearly I did not anticipate losing my job. That was something I was not ready for, and I briefly did get a little bit broke down after that happened, but it ended up actually being one of the best things that could have happened to me this year, which is crazy to say. I wasn't ready for change, but knowing how everything worked out the way that it was supposed to and realizing that everything was going to be okay, I was able to deal with it and really just deal with it in a way where I didn't allow for it to stop me. I only allowed for it to build me up and make me stronger. So, you know, I mean, you're going to have different things thrown at you that are going to make life kind of crazy, but just always be positive about it and look at the positive outlook as much as you can. Number 2, don't be hard on yourself. As difficult as this is for me to say to you, I strongly believe this because I, for so many years, was very hard on myself. Very tough critic, very serious about everything, just very harsh on myself, and I don't know where I got that from. I don't know why I fell into that mindset, but basically it's like I would approach to do something, you know, like I would go to do something, and then if it didn't work out, my whole world shattered. And so like when I graduated from college, I wanted to get my dream job, I wanted to move to my dream city, I wanted to do all of these things, and then when they didn't fall in line, I ended up getting a retail job. I was still living with my parents, and it was like 2 years after graduating, like I got depressed. I grew depressed because instead of me focusing on the accomplishments and the things that I had done, I was too focused on what I hadn't done, and I felt like I was behind. I felt like I compared myself to other people, and that had a huge part to do with it as well. And I think that as a society today, especially with the way social media and stuff is, it's really easy for you to compare yourself to Sally over here who's doing all of these amazing things, and you're like, well, why can't I do that? And in turn, you become hard on yourself and you're like, well, what's wrong with me? But you have to remember that your journey is going to be filled with all kind of crazy things that you don't expect. And a lot of times, as they always say, people's tests turn into their testimonies. The things that you might deal with will allow for you to inspire someone else. Clearly, the journey that I've gone through, I feel like I can now speak life into other people that are dealing with those same things. So when you're going through it, I know it's difficult, but try not to be hard on yourself. Try to think about the things that you have done and be grateful for the things that you do have, and just realize that eventually it will all fall into place. I promise you guys, I promise it will. I know it's easier said than done, but you will definitely thank yourself in the long run if you just give yourself a little bit of grace and a little bit of leeway in the struggle. Okay, and so number 3 is to celebrate small progress. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's enter your goal here. What's the thing that you want to work on? And it may be more than one thing. Me personally, I have 8 goals that I'm working on this year, but let's pick one. Actually, let me look at my list and we'll see. All right, so one of the goals is self-care, for example. So I got diagnosed with IBS earlier this year, and I also know that I need to become more active as well. And so with those things, I have to stay more in tune with my body. I have to realize what foods I can't and can eat. I can't just do whatever it is that I want to do all the time when it comes to eating, because it affects me very badly, and then it almost in some situations it could be debilitating to where I can't stay active. So the goal for myself this year is to really just pay attention to what I'm putting in my body and realize the effects that it has on me, keeping a food journal, so then that way I know what I can and can't eat, and that'll allow me to stay off of the medication, because I hate medicine. I absolutely hate medicine. And then also, I want to do yoga. I've been doing yoga on and off for the last 2 years, but I really want to get more consistent with it. And so for me, I'm not going to sit here and say like, okay, I'm gonna do yoga every day for the whole year, and I'm never gonna have a bad meal or anything like that, because because I'm on like a different diet. I'm a pescatarian now. I really don't eat a lot of like cheese and dairy. I've cut back on a lot of things because of IBS, and I want to just maintain that. And so if I want to have some ice cream every now and then, or if I want to have something that may not necessarily be quote unquote my diet that I've created for myself, that's okay. But if I do a week straight of yoga and I drink water every day for a week, that's progress to me. So that's gonna make me feel good about myself, and it's gonna make me want to keep going. And so when you celebrate the small steps that you make towards the larger goal of me being an active person, me taking care of my body, me taking care of myself, ultimately that's going to be the reward in the end. So whatever your goals are, don't think that you have to wait till you get to the end result. If you have something that's super duper huge, think about it in small steps, and as you get through it, celebrate that. Go out and treat yourself every now and then. Do whatever it is that you need to do to get through it, because I promise you that once you do finally get to the big ending, it's going to be so worth it. But celebrate along the way so that you'll stay motivated to want to keep going. And that's all about staying positive in the new year. It's all about continuing to just keep yourself in this positive space, this happy space that will always constantly keep you celebrating. So that was a third tip. I did also want to touch really quickly on my word of the year as well. Okay, so I actually did an entire blog post on this, and I will have that link down below. It talks all about how I found my word for the year and how you can find yours too. And I just wanted to touch on that really quickly because I feel like that's another part of how to stay positive and motivated. In my last video, I mentioned that you can do a vision board, which is a really great way to keep it visual, and it'll constantly remind you of your goals and things that it is you want to do. But as you're figuring out what those goals are, you may notice that there may be a recurring theme. And so just kind of looking back at mine again, I noticed that a lot of this stuff had to do with me somehow holding back or not quite putting my all into something, or kind of being a little bit more passive. And I noticed a theme. So some of my different goals was become a fearless adult, become fearless in growing my business, different things like that, become a more amazing friend. And a lot of that stuff had to do with me, like I said, holding back or not fully giving my all into something. And you know, the more I really thought about it, I was like, okay, there's a theme here of something that I need to be constantly reminding myself of as the year goes on, to constantly remind myself when I'm kind of like, oh, I really don't want to post this new product I came out with because I don't want people to think something about me, or I don't really want to introduce myself to this person over here. Even though I just moved and I want to meet people, I'm just too shy. So different things like that have been my truth that I've done in the past, and I don't want that to be the case, because nothing is going to happen if I'm quiet, if I'm shy, if I hold back. So I really thought about that, and that's one thing to think about as you're doing your goals. You'll start to see a theme, especially if you do a really deep dive and just kind of sit down, even for like an hour, to just write down some things that you want to do, what went well for you in the last year, what didn't go well, and then how you want to make those changes in the new year and things you want to work on. There will be a theme, I'm pretty sure. So the more you do it, of course, if you just write down a couple things like, okay, I'm gonna lose some weight, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, then of course it's not going to be a thing. But if you really take a moment to kind of like almost do it as a journaling experience or something where you can really reflect, I think that you will find that there's something underlying there that you really need to work on. And so last year my theme was joy, because as I mentioned to you guys, I was very negative and I just really wanted to work on being more positive, but I didn't necessarily want that to be my word last year. So joy ended up being my word, and I literally tried to find joy in all situations throughout the year, and I think I did really well with that. And now I just have this natural happiness about me. I have this natural positive outlook in me that I grew throughout the year, because I would just always constantly remember like, okay, find the joy in this situation. And so this year, yeah, I started writing down some different words. I had words written down like confident, outgoing, bold, take risks, be optimistic, hopeful, thrive. These are some of the different words, and I started to look back at what I wrote down and everything, and I was like, you know, I really think fearless is my word, and it could not be better, because there's so many things that are going to happen in 2018, so many things I want to do in 2018, and I think it's just time for me to stop being so scared to just face the facts of whatever it is that I'm working on, whether it is my business, whether it is being an adult, and you know, just stop being so scared of like taking care of adult business, you know, different things like that. It's all about being fearless. And so my word for 2018 is fearless, because I'm ready to just be a fearless woman in this world, and to just walk and just be happy with who I am mostly, you know, be positive, of course, But above all, with the fearlessness will come the confidence that I need in order to be able to do all of the things that I want to do. And I think that's one of the things that has held me back in the past. And so I want you guys to take a minute to think about what word you can use to keep you positive throughout the year, and just really take a moment to think about that, because that word can really help you a ton in the tough times when you're kind of just like, oh, I just want to give up. You can think about that word and you can be like, okay, what way can I be fearless in this situation? What way can I find joy in this situation? Whatever your word may be. I've seen some amazing words. I'm in the Power Sheets Facebook group, and they do a lot of word of the year, which I know Power Sheets users is not the only ones that do words of the year. I used to do it even before I started using them. So just definitely, if you are in like a group or something to get some ideas, take a dictionary out, search on Google, thesaurus, whatever, figure out the words that kind of speak to you and the different things that could kind of work with your situation and what it is you're trying to do. And that's basically it, guys. So I just wanted to share that portion of it with you. I hope that you have an amazing 2018. This will not be the last goal setting video of the year, of course. This is going to just be the beginning of so many more for the year. So I'll definitely be checking in with you guys to give you some more tips and tricks and ways to stay organized throughout the year. That's just one of the things I love and I'm passionate about. Thank you so much for watching the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.